This video is for educational purposes only and does not constitute professional medical advice. Please consult with your doctor or a qualified healthcare specialist before starting any new vitamins or supplements mentioned in this video. Use of this information is at your own risk. Right now, your body is quietly dissolving its own foundation. You think you are nourished, but your muscles are starving to death. That daily egg is no longer a builder. It is a distraction, masking the rapid decline happening inside your thighs. You are eating, yet you are wasting away. Find out why your own biology has turned against you. Right now, as you sit there comfortably, your body is quietly dissolving its own foundation. It is a silent process, invisible to the naked eye, but it is happening deep inside your thighs and calves. You believe you are safe because you eat a healthy breakfast. You trust the advice you have followed for decades. But the terrifying truth is that your muscles are starving to death even while your stomach is full. That daily egg you rely on is no longer a builder. It is a distraction, masking the rapid decline happening beneath your skin. You are one misstep away from a life-changing disaster, not because of bad luck, but because your own biology has turned against you. The collapse of your independence isn't coming in 10 years. It is being written on your plate today, and unless you understand the betrayal happening inside your own cells, gravity will eventually win. Welcome to ElderFit Nutrition. It's a pleasure to have you with us today. If you are determined to stay strong, independent, and active well into your later years, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel. Your support gives us the motivation to uncover these vital health truths and share them with you. For the last 50 years, we have been indoctrinated with a single, unshakable belief. The egg is the perfect food. We were told it is the gold standard of protein, the ultimate fuel for the human body. And for a long time, that was true. When you were 30, your body was a highly efficient machine. It could take a simple egg, extract every ounce of nutrition, and turn it into steel-hard muscle and boundless energy. Your metabolism was a roaring fire, and anything you threw into it burned bright. But here's the cruel twist that no one warns you about. The body you are feeding today is not the body you had at 40. The rules of survival have changed, but your menu has not. This is the tragedy of the gold standard. We cling to habits that used to work, failing to realize that after age 60, the biological landscape shifts dramatically. The problem is not that eggs have suddenly become unhealthy. The problem is that they have become insufficient. They are too weak for the battle you are now fighting. As we age, our bodies develop a condition known as anabolic resistance. Think of your muscles like an old radio. In your youth, the dial was sensitive. Even a faint signal, a small amount of protein, came through crystal clear, triggering repair and growth. But now that radio is covered in the static of age. The signal from a standard egg is simply too quiet to be heard. You eat the protein, but your muscles remain deaf to it. The repair switch stays off. The machinery that rebuilds your strength remains dormant. This is why you can eat healthy every day and still feel your legs getting thinner, your balance getting shakier, and your energy draining away. It is a phenomenon of starvation amidst plenty. Your digestive system, once a powerful refinery, has slowed down. It struggles to break down complex proteins, meaning that even if you eat the egg, the crucial amino acids may never actually reach the muscle tissue in time to make a difference. We are facing a crisis of signaling, not just a crisis of nutrition. We are trying to run a vintage engine on low-grade fuel, expecting high-performance results. The consequence of this misunderstanding is not just a loss of vanity or muscle tone. It is the loss of the ability to stand up from a chair without groaning. It is the loss of the confidence to walk down a flight of stairs without gripping the rail in fear. It is the slow, heartbreaking transition from being a provider to being a burden. We must stop treating our aging bodies like they are merely older versions of our younger selves. They are different entities entirely, requiring a much more potent, precise, and aggressive nutritional strategy to survive. Before we reveal exactly which proteins have the power to break through this resistance, I want you to pause and reflect on what we have just discussed. Based on what you have heard so far, what do you think is the real enemy of your muscle strength today? Please type your answer, A or B, in the comments below. A. The natural aging process that makes weakness unavoidable. B. A block signal where muscles stop responding to standard protein sources. Let me know your thoughts in the comments and let's continue to the solution. To understand why your body is rejecting the nutrition you provide, we must look at the microscopic fortress that has built up around your muscle fibers. This phenomenon, which scientists call anabolic resistance, is the defining biological hurdle of life after 60. Imagine your muscle cells as a heavily guarded castle. In your 30s, the gates to this castle were wide open. A simple knock, a moderate amount of protein from a standard meal, was enough to be welcomed inside to repair damage and build new structures. But as the decades pass, those gates slowly rust shut. The guards become deaf. The walls grow thicker. Now that same polite knock goes completely unheard. To get the gates to open, you no longer need a knock. You need a battering ram. This is where the tragedy of the egg begins to unfold. It is not that the egg lacks value, but rather that it lacks the sheer concussive force required to break through this newfound resistance. Your muscles have developed a higher threshold for stimulation. They require a massive, rapid surge of amino acids in the bloodstream to trigger the process of protein synthesis. If that surge is too slow or too weak, the machinery simply does not turn on. It is an all-or-nothing event. You can eat protein all day long, but if it trickles into your system too slowly, your muscles treat it as background noise, effectively ignoring the fuel they are desperate for. Compounding this resistance is the silent decline of your internal processing plant. Your digestive system, once a roaring furnace capable of melting down anything you consumed, has cooled significantly. After 60, the production of stomach acid and digestive enzymes naturally drops. This creates a critical bottleneck. An egg, particularly when cooked until solid, is a complex protein structure that requires significant chemical effort to unravel. In a younger body, this is effortless. In an aging body, it is a struggle. Because your digestion is slower and less efficient, the protein is often not fully broken down into the usable amino acids your muscles are waiting for. Instead of flooding your system with nutrients, the release is sluggish and partial. Much of what you eat passes through your system unabsorbed, becoming nothing more than expensive waste. This creates a dangerous illusion of sufficiency. You see the food on your fork, you taste it, and you feel full. You assume the job is done, but biologically, you are experiencing a disconnect. The leucine, the specific amino acid that acts as the master ignition key for muscle growth, is trapped inside that complex food matrix. Because digestion is struggling, not enough leucine hits your bloodstream at the critical moment to flip the switch. You are left with a cruel paradox. You are eating to stay strong, yet your body remains in a state of breakdown because the signal never breached the castle walls. To make matters worse, simply eating more eggs to compensate is rarely an option. Your appetite naturally wanes with age, making it physically uncomfortable to consume the sheer volume of food required to overcome these barriers. You are fighting a war on two fronts: a muscle that refuses to listen and a stomach that struggles to speak. The old strategies are failing because they rely on a biological efficiency that no longer exists. To save your strength, we must find a way to bypass these barriers entirely. If the problem is a locked door and a tired worker, the solution is not to bang harder or work longer. The solution is to change the delivery system entirely. We need proteins that operate on a completely different set of rules: faster, lighter, and more potent. This is where the hierarchy of nutrition shifts, and where specific sources begin to dramatically outperform the traditional egg. We are looking for proteins that do not wait in line to be processed, but rather take the express lane straight to your starving muscles. This brings us to the undeniable power of dairy-based proteins, specifically whey and soluble milk proteins. Unlike a solid egg, which must be mechanically pulverized and chemically unraveled by your stomach, liquid dairy proteins are already in a state of near readiness. They bypass the heavy lifting of digestion. When you consume them, they do not trickle into your system, they flood it. This rapid infusion creates a sharp, sudden spike of amino acids in the blood, precisely the kind of aggressive signal required to wake up an aging muscle. It delivers a concentrated dose of leucine that acts like a jolt of electricity, forcing the anabolic switch to flip on before the body has a chance to resist. It is high-octane fuel for an engine that struggles with crude oil. But speed is not the only virtue. We also need structural gentleness. This is where seafood, particularly fish, becomes a superior ally for the senior body. If you look at the texture of cooked fish, it flakes apart with the touch of a fork. This is not an accident. It is biology. The muscle fibers of fish are shorter and less dense than those of beef, pork, or even the coagulated proteins of a hard-boiled egg. For a stomach with reduced acid, this difference is monumental. It means the body can extract the nutrients with a fraction of the effort, leaving you with more energy and less digestive stress. You are getting a potent protein source that offers almost zero resistance to your internal machinery. Finally, we must embrace the ancient wisdom of fermentation. Foods like yogurt, kefir, or fermented plant proteins act as a bridge over the gap of declining digestion. In these foods, beneficial bacteria have already begun the work of breaking down the protein structures for you. They have essentially pre-digested the nutrients, unlocking them so your body does not have to. When you eat these proteins, you are not just feeding your muscles, you are bypassing your own limitations. This is the new strategy: choosing proteins that respect the reality of your biology, delivering the maximum signal with the minimum strain, ensuring that every bite translates directly into the strength you need to stand tall. There is another layer to this struggle that is often ignored: a hidden battlefield where the fate of your mobility is decided. It is not enough to simply supply the raw materials for muscle. We must also look at the environment in which that muscle is trying to survive. As we cross the threshold of 60, our bodies often enter a state of chronic, low-grade inflammation. Scientists call this inflammaging. Imagine a smoldering fire constantly burning in the background, consuming your energy and chemically dismantling your muscle fibers faster than you can rebuild them. This is where the choice of protein becomes a tactical decision. While traditional sources like eggs are neutral, they do not actively fight this fire. In contrast, the switch to fatty fish and specific plant-based proteins introduces a powerful weapon: anti-inflammatory compounds. When you consume proteins rich in omega-3 fatty acids or phytonutrients, you are doing more than feeding muscle. You are dousing the flames. You are creating a biological environment of peace rather than chaos. This reduction in systemic stress allows the body to shift its resources from damage control back to reconstruction. It clears the debris so that the new muscle tissue can actually take root and strengthen your legs. Furthermore, we must address the gatekeeper of your cells: insulin. In a healthy body, insulin acts as the usher, guiding nutrients from the blood into the muscle cells. But aging muscles often become stubborn. They resist this guidance, locking their doors and leaving valuable amino acids stranded in the bloodstream. This is known as insulin resistance. Heavy, slow-digesting proteins can sometimes fail to provoke the sharp, precise metabolic response needed to overcome this stubbornness. The superior proteins we have discussed, rapidly absorbing dairy and bioactive marine sources, do something remarkable. They improve the body's insulin sensitivity. They effectively grease the hinges of those rusted doors, allowing the nutrition to slip inside where it belongs. By choosing these smarter fuel sources, you are not just dumping bricks onto a construction site. You are ensuring the workers are actually awake to use them. You are restoring the metabolic communication that keeps your legs functioning, ensuring that every bite you take is a step away from frailty and a step toward unshakable stability. When you finally summon the courage to evolve your habits, replacing outdated traditions with these sharper, more biologically compatible tools, the result is not just a change in your physique, it is a reclamation of your life. We must understand that after 60, building muscle is no longer a pursuit of vanity or appearance. It is an act of survival. It is the difference between watching life from a window and stepping out into the world to live it. When you feed your body the signals it can actually hear, the response is nothing short of miraculous. You are not just adding fibers to your thighs, you are rebuilding the primary infrastructure of your independence. This transformation sets off a powerful chain reaction that saves you from the inside out. As your leg muscles regain their density, they begin to pull harder on the bones they protect. This mechanical stress is the language your skeleton understands. It signals your hips and femurs to absorb more calcium, hardening them against the threat of fractures. You are literally pulling your bones back from the brink of fragility. Simultaneously, this flood of high-quality nutrition sharpens the communication lines between your brain and your feet. The hesitation that plagues so many seniors, the fear of the next step, the wobble on the stairs, begins to fade. It is replaced by a renewed sense of proprioception, a feeling of being grounded, stable, and in control of your own gravity. The fatigue that once confined you to the couch, which you likely blamed on age, reveals itself to be a symptom of malnutrition. As that lifts, your world expands. You regain the ability to stand up from a chair without a groan, to walk through a park without scanning for the nearest bench, and to play with your grandchildren not as a fragile observer, but as an active participant. This is the ultimate reward of smarter nutrition. It is not about turning back the clock to be 20 again. It is about fortifying the present so that you can navigate your future with dignity. By choosing the right proteins today, you are declaring that you refuse to fade away and that you intend to stand tall on your own 2 feet for as long as you live. The journey we have taken today is not merely about criticizing a breakfast staple or praising a specific type of fish. It is about a fundamental shift in how you view your own existence. We often accept the slowing down of our bodies as an inevitable sentence, a fate written in the stars that we must quietly endure. We tell ourselves that weakness is just part of getting old. But science has handed us a different map. It has shown us that the decline is not always due to the passing of time, but often due to a mismatch between the fuel we provide and the engine we are trying to run. You are not losing muscle simply because you are 60 or 70. You are losing muscle because you've been whispering to a body that needs a shout. Recognizing this is the turning point. The moment you realize that you have the power to change the signal is the moment you regain control over your future. It requires the courage to let go of the comforting rituals of the past, the habits that served you well in your 30s and 40s, and to embrace a new way of eating that honors the reality of your biology today. It is about respecting your body enough to give it what it actually needs, not just what you are used to giving it. By prioritizing proteins that are fast, absorbable, and anti-inflammatory, you are doing more than planning a meal. You are engineering a defense system against frailty. You are choosing to be the architect of your own strength rather than a passenger in your own decline. This path does not promise eternal youth, but it promises something far more valuable, a life lived on your own terms, upright, steady, and unbound by the fear of falling. The most profound lesson to take away from this is that adaptation is the highest form of survival. In nature and in our own bodies, nothing stays static. The strategy that built you up in your youth can actively tear you down in your seniority if it no longer fits your physiological reality. To cling to the old ways out of stubbornness or nostalgia is to deny the present needs of your body. How to apply this today? You do not need to overhaul your entire life overnight. Start with the one swap rule. Look at your breakfast tomorrow. If it is usually toast and a hard-boiled egg, try swapping it just 3 times a week for a high-quality Greek yogurt or a whey protein shake. If you usually have a heavy meat dinner, try replacing it twice a week with flaky white fish. Observe how you feel. Do you feel lighter? Do you have more energy 2 hours later? Listen to the feedback your body gives you. Small, consistent upgrades in the quality of your protein signal will compound over months into a strength you thought was lost forever. We would love to hear from you and learn from your perspective. If you could choose just one protein source from the list we discussed, whether it is fish, yogurt, or dairy, to add to your diet next week, which one would it be? Please kindly leave your answer in the comment section below. Reading your choices helps us understand what solutions work best for our community, and it might inspire someone else to make a healthy change today. If you found value in this knowledge and want to continue building a stronger, more independent version of yourself, please consider subscribing to the channel. Your support is the fuel that keeps us going, allowing us to research and create more deep dive content to guide you on this journey. Thank you for watching, and here is to your strength.